Welcome back to 52 Moments, where I answer things like,
What is wrong with you?
or,
How have you become so awesome?
or even,
Why are you so weird?
as best I can. Along the way, I hope you'll learn more about me. So let's get to it. Hey, so this episode is called The Year Pride Found Me. And I promise I'll make that make sense eventually, but I'm backing up because basically this is my coming out story. And I need to add some detail to make everything make sense. So I came out a number of times in my life. I never came out originally as a kid because I was a kid. Even though I had crushes on all sorts of different people, no one told me I shouldn't until junior high. And then it was pretty clear that saying I had a crush on a woman was a good reason to be ostracized by my peers. So I stopped doing that. And I basically jammed that side of me into the closet and didn't really think about it. In my early 20s, I got engaged to my on again, off again high school boyfriend. It was a dumb thing to do. It did not last. We were engaged for all of, well, let's see, February, March, April, May, June, 4 months, not even, 3.5 months. So when I broke that off, I was like, right, okay, we're not doing the marriage thing. I'm not dating guys for a while. This is super uncomfortable. Fell head over heels for a woman at work. It was not requited. It was not. Yeah, it was not requited. It was not returned. But I nevertheless made an idiot of myself, fawning over her. And I screwed up the courage to go to the GLB club at the university. Now, you'll notice I said GLB. That's because there were way fewer letters back then. And that's just the way it was. That was the very early 90s. So it was the gay, lesbian, bi club. But let me tell you, there was absolutely no one in that room who identified as bi. So I slotted myself in with the lesbians. And it was the first time I said out loud that yes, I was attracted to women. And just admitting that was like amazingly eye opening. I went to one dance that was like a women's only dance at the Da Vinci Center. And I remember this one woman running up to me and saying, "Oh my God, I didn't know you were a dyke." And I said, "Well, I'm bi." And she backed off. And I was just crushed. So I I didn't know what to do with this. I just sort of went on with my life. I stopped going to the GLB club because I didn't feel like I was could be my authentic self. And so yeah, I just went on with life. And a few years later, I found myself married to a man. We were together for 19 years, and that marriage ended in January of 2015. And in June of that year, I went to San Francisco. I had been planning to go with my colleague since the previous fall. This had been a plan that was set in motion quite some time before, and so it never really occurred to me that the same week ALA was happening, which is the American Library Association convention, which is huge. It never really occurred to me that the same week overlapped with Pride festivities. And it wasn't until we landed and like San Francisco was exploding with rainbows that I realized what I was walking into. And it still didn't really hit me until one morning on my way to the convention hall. I basically had to, from my hotel to the convention hall, I had to cross the street where the parade comes down. So there were hundreds and hundreds of, probably thousands of people lining the streets. I did eventually find a way to cross the street, but then I ended up staying because I got to watch the Dykes on Bikes come down the road. They have been opening that parade for a very long time. It is one of the oldest parades for Pride in North America, if not the oldest. I don't know. I'll check. And it's tradition that these beautiful, strong leather dykes on their motorbikes and scooters just open that parade. They are the first group out, and seeing them just put this smile on my face and kept it there. And I decided to skip my first session so that I could watch a bit more of this parade. So I watched for about 3/4 of an hour and there was no sign of it slowing down. So I went and took in some of my sessions. And when I came back, the parade was still going. Like, it was something like a 4.5 hour long parade because you had like hundreds of Apple employees going down as one group. It was 2015, which was the year that the Marriage Equality Act passed. So you had the lawyers who were responsible for arguing that in court were in a convertible, and the whoops and hollers that they got were incredible. Yes, it was very corporate, and yes, people were handing out lots of stuff, but one of the things they handed out is one of my favorite things ever. And yeah, this is from Chipotle. But do you eat tacos or do you eat burritos has got to be one of the funniest ways of looking at, you know, gay or lesbian, or straight. I mean, honestly, anyone could wear these, but me, I could wear both. So I kept the whole thing, and I kept it intact because why not? There were also condoms and other safe sex gear, and there was, you know, beads and candy and God knows what being handed out. I didn't take on a lot of it. But that was the first part of Pride finding me. So after the parade finally finished, I took a few deep breaths and I walked back to my hotel and I changed, and I thought, I can't be inside. Like, I had too much energy. There was too much excitement in the air. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to the Castro. Now, I did not check. And of course, there was a great big ass party in the Castro. So when I came out from the subway along with like hundreds of other people, just sort of streaming up like locusts, I came out into this huge crowd. The roads were closed. There was a stage set up and a band playing something very loudly. Lots of people dancing, sweaty. It was very windy, which you can see in one of the photos of me with my hair blown across my face. Let's see. I'll try and put it up. And then, honestly, the photo that I tried to take, the selfie of me, shows so much emotion that every time I look at it, I get choked up. Because being in that sea of queerness was like a physical punch of belonging. And I know that sounds violent, but it was like, maybe not a punch, maybe just this pressure from just the biggest bear hug you can imagine. Like, I finally realized and accepted I am so queer. And I settled on queer at around that time because I had been using bi and pan, and there's all the political nonsense about those two. I have crushes on people. Gender or gender expression or physical sexual characteristics are not the first thing that comes to mind when I fall for someone. So yes, I can use bi, I can use pansexual. I do use both, but it is far more comfortable for me to just say queer. So I'm standing there in this sea of people, rainbows and black leather and casual clothes and flags hanging out of windows and people just radiating joy. It was one of those moments that cannot be described in any way other than magical. So that was Pride finding me. And that was probably what I consider my real coming out. Like that was the final little bit of me that was in the closet just said, yeah, fuck this. I'm done. I'm out. And this is who I am. And after that, I started doing more pride activism. I started sort of being more supportive of my queer community at home. It's brought me into a much better place. So, that is one of the reasons I am the way I am. And now you know. I hope you'll come back next time and find another reason. So thanks for joining me here on 52 Moments.